Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Documentary Club. I'm Jeff Jones, and with me today is Jack and Katie. Why don't we talk to them first before we get to it? Jack, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you very much. And hello to everyone in the live chat. Welcome to the show.
All right, and Katie, how are you doing today?
I'm good, doing good today. Um, yeah, this was an interesting one. Um, this one kind of hit home for me. Do you mind if I just say like something
I
that
was
really
I was
turned
hoping you would.
me around? Okay. Um, so a year ago, I think it was actually a year ago yesterday, my cousin's daughter was murdered by her estranged husband,
Oh Lord,
and I mean he shot her and wrapped her in
Lord,
carpet and put her body in a culvert, water culvert,
oh my
drainage
God,
pipe thing. And not a smart guy. And so he's all over Facebook, and when everyone starts accusing him of it, I mean they've already found her body and
right?
he's still saying he didn't do it, but he said something that was so close to what was this guy's name? Chris. What Chris Watts said. Chris said, I just hope she's somewhere safe with the kids.
Right.
And my cousin's husband said, I know she's out there somewheres. I just I just want her to I just want to find her. I just want to find her. Something like that. Like
Mm,
that's a
very similar.
that's a weird thing to say.
Well, I think that was the point that I tried to bring home too. I'm right there with you, where it's like, yeah, we all know that. We all know that you just want them back. We all just want them back. But what's your message to you need to send out a message to people to help, and that is something ain't right. Her phone is here, her medicine is here, her car is here. She didn't get away with two kids walking down the street. Somebody did something. I need your help.
Right.
Yep.
That's otherwise it's just like you look like you don't know what you're doing, and you look a little guilty because you should be focused on getting them back, not just saying I want him back. I want him back. Yeah, we get it. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, you're doing weird things. I mean, I don't, in this other situation, they were separated, but she was still helping with the kids. And so, I mean, I think he was already on the market with other women and whatever. But
You say Chris Watts was art, or you're talking
no, I
about?
mean, they both were,
Oh
obviously.
yeah.
I'm talking about this guy's name was Frank Byers, but he was doing this while people were searching for his wife. And I mean, was it clear if Chris was still communicating with this new girlfriend
I think
while
he
all this
was.
was going on with his wife being missing, or did he kind of put that on hold?
He was, but it didn't last long because he soon after, like this didn't only took like 3 days or something. Like he
For
was,
him.
yeah, he was locked up in 3 days and had confessed.
Okay.
So it didn't take long, but she definitely said in the documentary, he doesn't know I'm talking to you, to the investigators.
Correct.
So it was right within that window that she was speaking with investigators. And so it seemed like it implied that he was in somewhat of a contact with her recently. And I think that's the truth. I don't think he
So,
had four phones, though. I think he was just a one phone guy.
yeah. So, did the neighbor's camera or did a neighbor witness him backing his truck into the
Right.
garage? I was kind of unclear because then didn't a neighbor say there was a small truck there?
So the neighbor
I
said that the neighbor showed the cop video
right.
of here's him talking about Chris his truck was parked on the road, and then within the camera site. So he grabs the truck and he backs it up to the garage at like 5 a.m, like when you would leave to work, right?
Right.
His story was he was loading tools. Well, the neighbor guy said he never loads tools there. He's never done that before.
Right.
Never.
So that, and the neighbor was like, he's acting suspicious.
Right.
You know, something's not right. So the neighbor was really quick to key in on that. But okay, if like that's the only vehicle that left that day from that house, and these people didn't leave, you know, Shanann and the kids didn't leave in a vehicle, then either someone magically drove to the back of their house where they couldn't see this camera. Like, there's not a lot of answers. There's not a lot of alternative theories that explain how these people left that house, how the Shanann and the kids left the house. And I think that's why investigators were so sure of themselves, because they're like, no other cars came up. We've seen footage of the whole road that day. The only car that left that day was you after you backed up to your garage, which you never do. Like, the circumstantial evidence must have been making the cops go wild in their minds.
Right.
We got him, because there's no subway system that goes to their basement. You know what I mean? How are they getting out? How did they leave the house? Did they go out the back door?
And she left all her
all her stuff
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that I want to give any good ideas to the murderers out there, but you know, leaving the phone and all that was clear indication that she didn't leave willingly, you know?
Yeah, I mean, how many people leave, especially with 2 small children,
without their car?
Yeah, and
without their phone. Yeah.
I mean, even if they're going to go for a walk or whatever, which she's not going to do because she just got home, you know, in the early morning hours from being gone. She's not going to get up. None of that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm sure that the investigators felt like they had it solved when they saw the truck back up to the garage and the neighbor says, no, he never does that.
I'm sure that made their radar go up.
Yeah, because how else did they get out? You know, you have to answer that question. How did she leave with these kids? Because the cameras are running in front of the house. She didn't go for a walk in the front yard because that guy's camera would have seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what did she go, run through the backyard over the highway with the kids and then get into the bus and then leave? You know what I mean? Like, if she's going to leave because she's leaving the relationship, she's walking out the front door.
Yeah, and she's taking her phone. That's just
damn right.
Ridiculous.
Hey, SK Remit official, I really appreciate you joining again. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're really glad to have you here. And shout out to everybody else who's been following along with us. I just have so much fun doing this. I love checking out these documentaries. We're all documentary lovers here. And someone asked in the premiere if I wanted to talk about the JFK case at some point. And it reminds me that we had talked about at least a little bit about doing like kind of an open mic live on this channel to talk about whatever we want, to talk about other cases. So I'm just going to put a pin in that for now, for, you know, a little entice you guys into the future. I'm not sure what night. I think it was TJ that maybe said it. Hey, TJ Anderson, thanks for joining us. He says, sorry, my phone died right after I posted my last comment. Yeah, and so I also wanted to address that about the premiere. The premiere ended abruptly because I think there was a problem with the video file that I uploaded. So I'm going to upload that video again with the remainder. So if I apologize to you guys on that, but we will upload that one again soon. As far as this one, though, I have a couple questions for you guys, and I talked a lot about the polygraph in the premiere. It was really the sticking point for me, and I guess I just want to make the point that like how important it is, even though we think that Chris Watts is guilty and we can see that he's guilty and he's confessed, we can still hold the investigators to account and say, no, you shouldn't have done it like that, and disagree with. And I think that's really important for us to be able to see cases that sometimes things in the legal end of it, they don't fall in the favor of the defendant, and sometimes they do. And when they do, we need to be honest about that, and we need to say, hey, this is kind of tricky the way that they got him to confess. I don't really like that technique. I don't like the use of the polygraph. But like I also said in the video, it worked for them. They got the result they wanted, so they're going to continue to do that until something changes.
Well,
it works because it works for them. They get success off of it.
Yeah, but she used, you and I talked a lot about the use of the polygraph, how this polygrapher approached that. She used it as a club to beat him with, and to me, it should never be used in that fashion. Never. You just don't do that to me, because what she said to him, how she treated him, it was like she was gaming the system before it ever began. You shouldn't be talking to me if you're guilty, right? You understand that. You shouldn't have come in here. What?
Yeah, that was a little. That's where her bluff started. You know what I mean? And the part about, no, you got to breathe how I want you to breathe. No, breathe like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stand here so I can get this right result. It's like you're not setting up a lie detector. You're setting up the results that you want to get. Well, if I can get him to slow his breathing, I can get the result that I want. If I can't get him to slow his breathing, then I won't get the result that I want. That's not science, bro. That's why I just fundamentally polygraphs. Here's my question to you. Should we just do away with them completely, or do they just need reforms? The use of them?
No, I think they don't have a place because they're not admissible in court. We have a bigger issue with corrupt law enforcement, and this just gives them another way to be corrupt. You see it, well, like in the Greg Kelly case that we covered earlier, Outcry. He takes a polygraph, he passes, they tell him he fails. I mean, you can break people down. I think it would aid in a wrongful false confession, actually. I just don't see that much value in it. And in this case, what was going on there was the polygraph indicating when she asked him, is Chris your name? Or whatever she asked him that she knew to be true as to set a. Did he fail that? Yeah, Chris is his name.
Which part specifically? Yeah. Right. Which parts? Because she said you weren't being completely honest. Well, which part? That I never had an affair? Because that I wasn't honest about either. You know what I mean? Like, or they ask you these questions to, I don't know how, and I don't know how anybody can stand there. I'm really with you. Everything you just said, I agree. I don't know how anybody with, a scientific background can stand there with a straight face and be like, yes, these are appropriate for use to finding the truth. No. I mean, then why not shoot them up with the what's the truth serum that they used to use?
Phenobarbital.
No, I don't know much about it, but I had the impression that was more accurate. Why don't you just shoot them up with that? Give them, it's just. And like you said, they're not admissible in court. They're not admissible in court. So none of this. Can they even ask you on the stand, hey, Mr. Detective, you administered a lie detector test. No. Yeah, what were the results about that? They can't even ask you in court.
No.
No, it's not admissible at all.
But
Not
like
in
even
any way.
yeah. So
Again,
And
it's using it as a baseball bat against someone. That's the
right.
problem.
And have you ever? I wish I knew more about the law. He'll just say his name like Beetlejuice, Travis, 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 three times, and then he'll show up. But do many defense attorneys recommend even entertaining the idea of a polygraph, or is it usually people that don't have lawyers that do this?
that's people who don't have lawyers. In the Daniel Holtzclaw case, he goes in for an interview. He's 2-hour interview with two detectives. They ask him if if he'd be willing to take a polygraph. He says yes, of course, yes, of course. And she says, you're not going to be able to set one up right away. Um, he goes through that whole thing of the 2 hours. Still, he's gonna let him come to his house, get anything they want to test. He's gonna take the polygraph, and then he ends up getting the FOP gives him an attorney, and they call the next day, and he says, I have an attorney, call her. They call her. She says, nope, he's told you everything he's going to tell you. And why would a defense attorney I think in general, defense attorneys don't ever let you talk to law enforcement again after if you've given an initial
Exactly.
statement already.
Right.
Exactly.
And I guess if you haven't given an initial statement, are you obligated to bring your client in for questioning? I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they're obligated, but if they are, like the lawyer can be there,
Right,
and
right,
That's right.
shut down.
No,
I'm
don't
not
answer
sure.
that. No, don't answer that.
right.
All right. Well, we've had a
Yeah, and
yeah.
we're done here. Really.
Well, and I think the
That's
other thing they do is they'll be like, oh, okay, well then we're gonna hold you until, and they try to use that technique too, like, well, before we're not gonna let you go. We can hold you for 24 hours, so they'll hold you and make you sit and wait for a lawyer, or you could talk to us now and we could just get this moving right along and get you out of here today. Like they'll do that kind of shit too, which is pretty dirty.
Yep. And not having to turn the results of the polygraph over is
Right.
another dirty
Yeah.
trick.
So what if would you? I don't think there's any condition. Like I'll go through the conditions with you. I think we talked about this a little bit, Jack. But like we said, well, maybe if you had to, if it was by law that you had to give us the results. Number two, you couldn't lie to us about the results. And I think we had a third one. But what if would you still be against using a polygraph if those two things were true, that they couldn't lie to you and they had to give you the results?
Yeah, I probably still would. Because
I,
again,
I just go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, because I just see how this is just one case. I mean, we've seen others too, but
Right.
of how she approached giving this polygraph to, I mean, if there's certain conditions that have to be met, that, they can't basically threaten you with it because that's what she did. So that's going to get you amped up, no matter if you're guilty or not, right? There'd have to be certain rigid conditions for me.
I think the
Where I would.
conditions are. Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. I'll hold mine till the end. I'm sorry. I'm getting too
No,
excited.
no. I'm just, I'm, I'm just saying. To me, there would have to be rigid conditions under which I would say, yeah, polygraphs can be used as this is a tool, not necessarily as fact, but certainly as an indicator. Other than that, no, I just think that they're abused.
Well, for me, it's just a hard no.
Yeah.
And there are no conditions that would change my mind. Because what are we doing here with this polygraph? We're using my physiological responses to your question, I mean, my answers and what my body's doing to decide if I'm telling the truth or not, I don't know. That isn't even a thing. There are all kinds of reasons that your respiration would be increased, your blood pressure would be increased. They're all, I mean, you're already in a stressful situation anyway. You're supposed to be calm. Come on, man. I just think it's crap. So put that with the bite mark stuff for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I I first like played with the notion like, well, what if it was regulated and it had to be done this way? But then it's like you've regulated it down to so much that you're really only getting this tiny little slice of the answer. That it's like, why are we even doing this? And it's not even admissible. It's not scientifically backed. I'm with you. Throw it with the bike mark evidence, and hairs without a follicle.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just useless to here's the thing, like even without the polygraph, I don't know, do they solve this case? Like that's an interesting question. I think they do. For me, like I think one thing that I agree with, you guys can pipe up here, I'll let you have at it, but in a way it did feel like he thought they're gonna catch me, so he wasn't like there to confess, but it didn't really take that much to get him to tell his dad. You know what I mean? I don't think that he saw a way out. I really don't. He was just like, they're gonna catch me, and yeah, I did it. Like, I don't want to tell you, but he told the dad, and he confessed to the father, and I don't know.
Well,
Like,
that was another part of that. He
there's
blamed
questions in there.
Shanann for killing the kids, and I had to kill her. I had to do it.
Right.
That
So
really,
there's a question right there that I don't
eh,
believe. Do either of you buy that?
no.
No,
Yeah.
no. And I don't know if he killed the kids before she got home or if she got home and she picked a fight with him. I mean, she was already scrutinizing his credit card uh, transactions um, while she was out in North Carolina or wherever she was for 4 weeks.
Mm.
You don't
6?
stop. Yeah, 6 weeks maybe. You don't stop doing those things. I mean, once you realize that you can track someone by looking at their phone records, by looking at their credit card receipts, you're not going to stop doing that. And he got a babysitter for these kids so he could go out with his girlfriend while she's gone on this business uh, trip or whatever.
Oh no, the kids were with her.
Uh,
The
no,
girls were with her on the trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
no,
He
on the
was
trip, but not on the
he was home
business
alone.
trip. No,
Oh yeah, I
he
guess
was home
not.
alone for the 6 weeks, but
Yeah.
then they all came home, and then she went for like 2 nights to her, um,
Business with her
Yeah.
friend.
whatever her,
Yeah.
um,
The same woman that reported her missing is the one that dropped her off the night before.
yeah,
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
and
her
so
work friend. Yeah.
I think she came home pissed at him, knowing that he's still doing it.
He
He, yeah.
admitted that he didn't hide credit card charges at like restaurants of meals that were definitely too big for one person. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like you can look at, oh, well, you went to Olive Garden and you had like your meal was, oh, that's about what one person would cost. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And then if you're like, oh, there's a really big charge on here. Who were you at the Olive Garden with, or who were you at whatever restaurant?
Or just how much did you eat?
And he said he stopped trying to hide that stuff. He's like, I was just openly using the credit card, like not trying to hide what I was doing. And so she did have evidence of
Mhm.
Well,
his impropriety, and he I think he was getting close to, he knew it was coming. He knew that they were going to have to talk about this sooner or later, but His
Well,
reaction was just psychotic,
Yeah, that was
flew down.
bizarre.
He flew down there that last week, and he wouldn't touch her.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's
It was already over.
And
You
then,
got that
like,
feeling.
he said
Yeah.
he woke up that day knowing that he was gonna kill her.
Yep.
And then he had sex with her anyway. One last time. Like
one last time. That's mind blowing. I don't know. The guy's just.
Did he really though?
Yes.
What's what he says?
That's what he said
Yeah.
he did.
I know it's what he says, but he said a lot of things.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
mean,
This is fair.
I disagree. I don't believe him that he had sex with her. I think she came home.
Interesting. All right, I like this.
Confronted him about the stuff that he's saying that he was just doing it out in the open and telling her. No, he wasn't. That's about as credible as Scott Peterson saying that Lacey knew about his affair.
Yeah,
and that
right.
she was okay with it. That
You
makes
can't really believe
no
anything he says.
sense at all. Females don't. A female brain doesn't work like that. She came home. She confronted him. He got mad. He's already ready to end the thing. He doesn't want a third baby on top of all of this. He wants this new, fresh,
companion.
A new relationship feels is all butterflies and everything. He wants
yeah.
Anyway, I just think that they got into it and that he killed her in the heat of the moment. I don't believe for a second that they had sex. I mean, unless
I think it's something he wouldn't lie about. I just, to me, I really want to get Jack's opinion now. You got to take a side, Jack. You got to pick a side. Whose side are you going to pick, buddy? Come on, pick my side. I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Okay,
what
so
what do you think on that?
Sex. Wait a minute.
I don't see that he would lie about that. Okay, like he'd be like, and then I slept with her. Like he didn't need to add that. Like what would so to me, I do think it's also like something that a psychopath would do is like all she wants to do is sleep with you, and then you sleep with her one last time, and then after that, then you kill her. Like I don't know.
If he did that, if he slept with her, he did it so that she would relax and go to sleep so that he could smother her or whatever.
Thank you.
However, he was going to kill her. Oh, sorry. Did I steal your thunder, Jack?
Well, kind of, but that's okay. That's basically what I was going to say, that, he acquiesced, had sex with her, knowing that what he was going to do anyway. But it kind of got her. It calmed the waters down a little bit. I'm not saying that it certainly wouldn't have ended all the other problems, but maybe for the moment he calmed her down.
Yeah,
and then he choked her out.
So if that's the case,
he probably never even admitted to having a girlfriend. Then
the girls wouldn't have already been dead then, because
I don't think so.
I don't really know of any mom who's been gone for a couple days, comes home and doesn't open the door and peek in on the little kids.
Of course not.
Right.
So they weren't dead.
I think that part of the story is real, that he drove them out there and then smothered them out there.
Yep.
Oh my God, that is so disturbing.
And that's the point, is like, dude, you have 45 minutes. He's like, at the 45 minutes. I was like, you had 45 minutes drive to rethink not killing your kids.
Yep.
You deserve, I'm not a big believer in the death penalty, but if there was ever a case, somebody like this, I don't know, like, I still don't believe in it, but you can see where you want to go. There's like, what?
If it had went to trial, he would have been facing the death penalty.
I mean, it's happened before where people, lose their mind and they snap and they kill their spouse and they serve 30 years in prison and there's still something salvageable on the other end. You didn't have to. What? Where did he think he was just going to call Nicole after this and be like, "Hey, Nicole, I don't have a family anymore.
Right, everything's
want to go to Moab?
Yeah,
we'll go snow skiing,
yeah,
or whatever, sandboarding."
I just don't see. Again, that's why I said the guy's a psychopath. I just don't know how
Yes.
your brain can get to there. I just
I can't
that's another
explain
thing.
it.
That's another thing too. You brought up a minute ago, but I just want to mention it's obvious to me that Dad knew about the affair. He had told his dad.
That's my next question, Jack. Unless you should see where I'm going with that
No, go ahead.
because the there's a lot of questions I have surrounding the dad. I want to ask the people in chat as well to give me your opinion about the dad. And the question is, do you think that before Chris told his dad in that recording, do you think his dad knew about Shanann's death?
Absolutely.
You
Oh,
do.
about Shanann's death?
Yes.
I don't think so.
You don't think the
No.
dad knew? You think that's when he first found out?
Yeah.
I
I
think he
don't.
knew about the affair, but not about
I
the
don't.
death.
I
Because
think
the
that
way he put his head in his hands,
Yeah.
maybe it was real. Yeah.
that, I mean, to TJ's point, I was reading his body. I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. I thought there might be a chance that he told the dad what had really happened because the way he said, I messed up the polygraph. I messed up the polygraph. I failed it. What do you mean you messed it up?
Yeah, really.
You guys notice that?
Yeah, I did.
I messed up the polygraph. I failed it. He
I
messed it
think
up.
he was just trying to figure out a way to tell his dad, "Hey, I failed the polygraph test,"
Okay. That's a
and
good way
he
to
was
interpret it.
trying to maybe just say he messed up. He didn't. I don't know what
It
he
almost
meant by
seemed like I messed it up because I knew I could beat it. Like that's like I should have passed it, but I
right.
screwed up by breathing the way she wanted me to breathe.
And I think that's what he was trying to say to his dad is, that I don't know for that brief. It didn't
He
take
did
him
say
long
they're
to
not going
come
to let me.
clean with his dad, did it?
Didn't. Well, we're not seeing all of it. Let's be fair. There were some, edits, blurs, as you will, coming across the screen that we don't have that full. But it didn't seem like it was hours and hours. That's for sure. It seemed,
Do we know how long
you
that
know,
interrogation lasted?
I don't have a number on that one, but I don't think it
Yeah.
was long. I think, I don't think they were but a couple hours, to be honest. But it's something we could look into. Somebody we should have like a captain on the ship here. Somebody should be driving the internet. Who's driving the internet? Who's really fast? Jack is really good at searching stuff.
We need Cherie.
I was gonna say we always use Cherie for that. She's
Oh, okay.
on.
I'm pretty fast, but I'm also trying to host here.
Right.
Trying to
You
keep
can
it,
usually
but
do both.
Well, you just
usually
you just need a couple more arms, man. Just get a couple of bionic arms implanted.
just being lazy. I want to incorporate someone new. TJ, get on it. You're the new computer guy. Yeah, TJ had some really good comments. I appreciate that. I don't know. I feel like his dad definitely knew about the affair. I think you got that one, Jack. I think he might have suspected more. I think he might have let some more slip, knowing what. We'll never really know. We'll never really know. I think there was also some speculation that Nicole actually knew something about it, and I think that is. I think that's crazy talk, but
6 hours.
6 hours was the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice work. Nice work. 6 hours was the length of that interrogation.
Mm-hmm. The interview.
And then, yeah, I put him down here, the lowest of the low. I don't even lower than war crimes. Lower, like this is the level of like we put people like that commit genocide and ethnic cleansing. I put them right along there with Chris Watts. This is just so beyond
disturbing.
I just can't. And then I know it sounds graphic, but he's literally carrying his own child up a ladder
God
and then
dang, I can't.
unscrewing the top. Like, I just,
What about the second child who watches the first child get dropped in? I mean,
yeah. And then
what the
it said, "Daddy, no, Daddy, no," and he's like, "That's all I hear when
hell?
I wake up now is Daddy, no." It's like, what the?
See, that's why he doesn't need the death penalty. He needs to live in prison for the rest of his life hearing daddy no. I
Yeah,
think that's
maybe
the
you're right.
greater punishment.
Well, I think I might be in agreement with you on that one too. It's maybe we could spray paint Daddy No in his prison. Whoa, Jeff,
Yeah.
whoa, back up, dude. Okay. Well, anything else about the case that kind of piqued your interest about this one? I mean, it's pretty as far as open and shut cases go. As we said, this one was over in like less than a week. It was closed. Case closed. We know who did it. We got a confession. He's going to plead guilty.
I just, this is kind of, I should have brought this up earlier, but when they interviewed his boss, did he say Chris and others were out at the well all day? And others?
Is the way I remember it, it did seem like he wasn't out there alone, that there was other people out there. Yes, it did seem like that, but
well, they have other. It's not just the one
not
pod.
just that one. Yeah,
right. There's
like
other
a whole
pods.
regional thing.
Yeah, there's other pods, I guess, nearby that other guys were working on, or people, whatever, guys and gals.
But
yeah, well, he's a sicko.
Yeah,
That's what I'll say.
He was I think he was in Waupun for a little bit, cross connection there. But yeah, Chris Watts, there's no doubt about it. You know, and unlike the other cases, unlike the Scott Peterson case, which I think we'll have to do an end around again and do a third touch on that one, because we're going to take a look at that A&E documentary one of these days. One of these fine weeks, we'll take a look at that again. But you know, there's at least some, I don't know, circumstantial evidence that could point towards Scott Peterson's innocence. He's never, but there's no question with this one. We don't always get that. We don't always get there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt the conclusion of what happened in this one. Nobody's online going, Chris Watts is innocent.
No.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, I'd like to hear a theory that makes him innocent without having aliens involved. I would really like to, or some futuristic technology that you can beam people out of their houses like Star Trek. Otherwise, I don't know how you're going to pull this one off. You can't just make people vanish.
No, I don't think you're going to get an answer to that one. I haven't seen any Chris Watts groupies at all.
Chris Watts didn't do it. Groupies, yeah. So, this was, as far as documentaries go, I enjoyed this one. It makes me think about a lot of other cases, like we said, and I guess I don't have a ton of other questions on this. Do you guys have any other questions or anything you want to bring up that was interesting in the case? Or
what were the charges actually? Because he got 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
9
plus 48 years for the unlawful termination of a pregnancy, which wouldn't that be murder?
Well, because it was not a born child, it was like you aborted it, right? You didn't murder it, you aborted it.
I've seen people try. Well, what did Scott Peterson get with Lacey? Is that because
he's in a different state? So
okay,
and you know what I mean? Like they changed
outside of the body when they found it. I think
for the most part, states pretty much have the same laws, but they're always worded a little differently, right? So like the way that Colorado might see it is different than California might see it, and then the federal, they have their own statutes. So, but there was tampering with a body or something like that too. He also got that.
36 years for 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah, but I don't know 5 life sentences what the 5 would be. You would think it would be 3.
3 death. Well, after 1, isn't it a little redundant? Isn't it a little redundant anyway?
Yeah, it is.
There's a question for you. Like, are we? Is that a real even mathematical thing that means anything? When they're like, he got 200 life sentences. Okay.
They just like to stack that in
Like,
case
once you get one, it doesn't
overturned. If something gets
Oh,
overturned,
I
then they
see.
still
Okay.
have the other stuff. So
Okay, fair enough. So it does. It
so
does
they
have
don't
some
care if
practical
they're
use.
giving somebody 1,000 years.
How many years are you in for? Well, more than I can do. So that's kind of,
Yeah.
I'm kind of ahead. Like, they want me to do 1,000. I'm never gonna get that. They're not gonna get their deal out of me, you know. Yeah. So cool documentary. There was a lot of like social media posts and stuff that we didn't include in our little review. It's a pretty quick one. Like, I think an hour and a half on that. Another one that I feel like I would have liked to have seen another episode. However, as we said, this case was like done in a week. You know, like there was no questioning of who did it. I don't. Within 3 days, they had him dead to rights. He confessed, and not only does he confess, but he points to where the bodies are. They're exactly where he said they would be, exactly where he worked that day. There's not a lot of wiggle room for someone else. You know, he doesn't need help. He's, you know, he could do this as one person. He didn't need someone's help to do it. You know what I mean? So there's really not a lot of question in this one. So I guess one episode's enough, but a couple questions I would like to know. What about you guys? Any last final thoughts on this one?
He's a monster.
You heard it here first, folks. He is a monster. Well, Katie, anything?
No, I mean, I just find all the similarities of how stupid he is, and
yeah,
his thought process is so weird compared to, a real life case in my family. It's that guy, was thinking some of the same ways that just don't make sense, lying, making statements that are just completely unbelievable, and thinking people will just believe you.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's a monster.
Monster. He was living, I don't really have much to add to that. Like, it's really one of the most tragic cases that could ever. I don't know that it needs to be said, but apparently it needs to be said. You don't have to kill your wife and your children. There is life after divorce. And, there's one thing that I think should be added to that. And if you haven't done anything wrong, if you are just a normal person, you don't live a lifestyle that has illegal activities on it, and you get separated from your significant other, they can't just take your kids away and never let you see them again. Like, I think it needs to be clear, because I think a lot of people hear that. Yeah, I'm never going to let you see the kids again. No, that's not going to happen. Like, you're going to get sick of them anyway. You're going to need a babysitter. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately the court is going to say you have to have visitation unless you live some sort of like criminal lifestyle. Then yeah, you might never see your kids again. But I think people hear that, and then, in this case, I think that's what happened here. Chris Watts flew off the handle and just whatever. But anyway, that's my only point. You don't have to, if you're listening to out there and you're contemplating murder, you don't have to kill him. You don't have to do it. Okay. Just say no. Say no. Put the knife down if you can hear my voice. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jack, for joining. Thank you, Katie. It's been a lot of fun. We'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Jeff Jones. This has been Documentary Club, and we will see you on the next one.